All right. This is episode one of the podcast. Welcome, everyone. We don't know how many people are going to show up for the episode one because we haven't really promoted it that much yet. But my name is Garrett Pagel, and
I am Tanner Lewick.
we both run YouTube channels. And let's first off get you started with what this podcast is. So, if you haven't read our podcast is basically focused on school and how we both believe that the education system is a little bit dumb in the head. But mainly in more serious terms, we both believe that the education system is very flawed and it needs to be modernized because we don't live in a memorize regurgitate society anymore, which is what our school is based off.
Yeah.
And then we also both believe in in entrepreneurship and self-employment stuff. So, yeah.
And this is our podcast.
Yuppers. Episode one. We don't really know what else to do right now, but you know what? Just sit down, let's film it. Let's get this started. So, Tanner.
Yes.
Start out with now your channel.
So my channel is Tanatomic Tanner.
And then my channel is my name, just Garrett Pagel, and we both do commentary style stuff. And yeah, that's basically it. But today, what we wanted to talk about is how the coronavirus is affecting schooling to go online. So, Tanner, what is your opinion on school online right now?
So, school online. Well, first we got to talk about how school online is basically, well, it's more efficient because you don't have to go to a building. You don't have to, take buses. The buses are using fuel and stuff like that. And basically, I think school online is a lot more I guess it takes a lot less time. I know that.
Yeah, I would agree. It takes a lot less time. For one, I mean, you're able to more schedule your day based off of it instead. Like, obviously, when we all graduate high school, something that we're going to need to focus on as adults is how to schedule our days around our jobs. And school doesn't really give us that opportunity now that we have online school. We're kind of already given that opportunity of, all right, so we're going to do math at 8 in the morning. We're going to take a little break, maybe get a cup of coffee, eat breakfast. Then we're going to move on to science and stuff kind of thing, which is like more how an adult society is based versus the teen society of high school, or the reality of high school, I guess you could say. There's also, in my opinion, a lot less people that you have to deal with. And if there's something that I completely hate about school, it's dealing with people. Because, I mean, out in public and stuff, yeah, when you're an adult, you have to know how to deal with people and stuff. And, I mean, we're both pretty social people. And that's something that we don't really have to worry about as much. But, with school being online now, you don't have to really deal with, popular kids because, oh my gosh, they think they're so great and stuff. But now we don't have to deal with them, and we're allowed to just be ourselves more. For one, I haven't been judged on anything that I say in the last 60 days now, and you know why? Thanks to the coronavirus for putting school online. What do you have to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's another question to add here. It's that, is that a good thing? Because, I mean, school online is a lot better, in my opinion. Although it can be a little bit bad because, if people aren't going to judge you on what you say, you can basically say whatever you want. And if we do go back to school, that could be a bad thing in the long run. But school online is a lot more fun because you can do way more stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing too that's nice about school is we're actually able to put more. What would you say? We're allowed to put in way more time into the classes that we actually find value in, which is something else that I think the school system needs to change. Is you find so many students failing certain classes and then doing extremely well in the classes or excelling in classes that they actually find value and purpose in, and that's something that a lot of public schools don't show, especially mine. I don't know what it is with yours. What would you say?
Wait, can you repeat what you said before?
Do you have are you doing better in certain classes now that you're able to put more time into that class?
Well, I'm kind of not doing so
Like,
well in some of
which
my
which
classes.
classes are you like your favorites more?
My favorite kind of classes are probably video production is one of my favorite classes. Um, yeah,
And you
that
do pretty good in that class, right?
yeah, I'm still doing pretty
Yeah,
well in it. Yeah,
yeah. And like that's something that like I don't have a class like that, which would be very beneficial since I'm so interested in like video production, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, sure, we'd all want to be able to do that, but like I, for one, work extremely hard to get to that. After high school, that is the plan I would like to do. I'd like to be able to monetize my channel and do that full time. Otherwise, I'll just do other self employment style stuff because I really hated having a boss because I worked at a grocery store and just did not like that. I had scheduled to come in at a certain time, all this stuff, and like I'd want to be someone that's able to schedule my own time. And this is when I'm gonna work, and this is when I'm not gonna work, kind of thing. What would you say?
yeah, that is a lot better, I think.
Yeah. So anything else you want to add to school right now?
Well, school is changing a lot. You know,
Yep, I would
what
agree.
else?
School, well,
What
this
else
whole
would I
thing is
say?
gonna, this entire coronavirus pandemic is going to change how a lot of things in society work. Like, I honestly believe that more businesses and stuff are, if like productivity or deadlines and stuff are all met and are exceeded now, and like things don't drop, and like their companies like sales don't drop, then I don't see a reason for them to force their employees to come into an office every day. Like, why not just make their bedroom an office or just use a computer and work on that? Like, with our school stuff, I'm able to do 100% of my classes except for band, but we're able to do everything like that right through our computers. We're able to type as calculators, all this kind of stuff. And that's another thing too that like school doesn't really focus on as much is because school doesn't realize that there is so many more tools based on our like resources and ability to use them versus what we memorize. Because the thing with memorize and regurgitation, yeah, it worked back in the 1950s. There wasn't everything you need to know in your pocket. There wasn't a phone. There wasn't computers at everyone's accessibility and stuff. There wasn't those types of things. And now school needs to be able to, in my opinion, school should be teaching students how to use their resources instead of making it seem like they're bad for the student necessarily to use. Like, what would be a good example? Like my school, for example, whatever reason, they just hate phones. Like they despise them. They were trying to get it so that our phones aren't even allowed in the building. And technically they aren't supposed to be
Yeah,
allowed in the building, but we still all bring them because we don't care. And one of the things that's really dumb about that is our phones are going to be with us throughout our entire adult lives. Phones are just going to keep evolving and keep becoming more and more advanced throughout our lives. And the school shuns them and makes them seem like they're a bad thing. Yeah, students a lot of the time use them for poor, what would you say, like poor activities. But if the teachers instead were teaching the students how to use this resource right here, because you find anything you want. If teachers were used, if teachers are using their time to teach us how to use these as resources that can get us further and further with our day and our lives, I think phones wouldn't be looked at as such a bad thing. It's the same with social media. Like,
yeah,
sure, me and you spend a lot of time on social medias. We do stuff on YouTube and we connect with people on Instagram, kind of thing. So like our Instagrams are where we connect with people and we use it as a way of as a format of like messaging people that don't have our phone numbers or that kind of thing. We also use email for that. And then we use YouTube as where we make our videos and like amount and for me you don't have anything that you've monetized yet, right?
yeah. I don't.
Okay, so like for me then like sure, I use that as my source of income right now. I've had two sponsorships so far on my channel and I've made a little bit off my Patreon and that's what I use to like if I want to go hang out with friends or like go out to eat or something or buy movies for tickets, movie tickets. That's what I use. I use my Patreon money and my other little sponsorship stuff. But that's something that school needs to start teaching us how to use is our phones as a resource instead of something that's shunned and used as a negative resource. But would you agree with that? Have anything to add to it?
Well, yeah. I agree with that. I think there's a huge problem, and this is probably the reason why this is happening, in my opinion. I actually don't know. But it's that teachers grew up in a time where that didn't happen. So they they were educated and everything as technology was changing, and now technology has advanced a lot, and they weren't given the curriculum that they need to have. So in the
Yeah.
future, it'll probably adapt a lot, but I don't really know. I
Yeah,
think,
and then like especially right now with our like I mean our classes and stuff like our generation, our schools are still very much memorize regurgitation. You that's what's wrong with the school system. You learn something for a week and then you throw it up on a test, and that's not education at all. That is bulimia. You are taught something and you're immediately 5 days later after you learn it are told to regurgitate it, throw it up on the test, and next week we're going to start something new. It's why the biggest, most asked question in a classroom is, will this be on the test? If it's not on the test, why do teachers teach us It's the same thing in society. Like a computer scientist is not going to need to know how to fly a plane, or like relating it into school. Like you and I, we're very big into social media and like influencer style working, self employment, that kind of thing. YouTube video production, all that kind of thing. Audio mixing are things that we have big hobbies in. And I feel like if students were given those classes and more options to do that, they'd find way more value in school. And students wouldn't necessarily be saying, "Oh, I have to go to school." Students would be saying more like, "All right, this is awesome. I'm going to go to school today, and I'm going to learn about something that's going to prepare me for after high school." And school is very much the opposite. Like you are there and you are just throwing so much stuff. Like most students, sure, you have those students that are able to adapt and cope with it and stuff. Like for me, for one, I do fine with it. I don't agree with it, and I'm very strongly against how teachers and stuff teach nowadays. But I have to follow it, and I have to. I don't necessarily like have to, but in my household, that's basically how it is. If I want to be able to make videos and keep making like the small incomes that I do right now, I have to have good grades and stuff, which I don't agree with because right now I'm to the point now where school is like, I don't necessarily need to know this because I know what I'm doing after high school, and I know start learning more of the things that are going to help me in high school. What'd you do?
It's sorry. Oh gosh. Okay.
What'd you do?
I don't know.
What would you say?
Yeah. I mean, I actually do not do too well with school. Probably because of the fact that I don't agree with it. Is probably the reason why I just, I don't know, I kind of gave up a while ago with school. And it's because of the fact that I realized that school is, a lot of the stuff in school is pointless. There's been studies done where 3% of the information you learn, you actually retain. So that's 97% that you don't get. So there's a huge problem here. It's that basically, at least for me, I don't know about if this is, for other people too, but
yeah,
once I learned that I stopped doing well. So it's either that you don't know about this, you're just incompetent, or I guess you could say you're kind of a bigot then. I don't really know how to explain it.
Yeah, you're right.
You just don't understand this, or you do understand it. And if you don't understand it, you will be more successful than if you don't understand it. But to not understand it and do well, you also have to be, I don't know, you kind of have to be...
Yeah, you have to be well-rounded in that subject, yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know, it's just a huge problem for me, I guess.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Like, for one thing with me, like, I am terrible at math. Like, I don't know how I still have a B in that class. Right now I have an A thanks to online school, and I'm actually able to use my resources to get the correct answers. But I can completely agree with you on that. Like, the thing that schools should be doing is, like I was saying before, like, once a student finds value in the class they're taking, they are going to do so much better in it. And like, that's normal human physiology. Like a student is not going to perform well in, say they don't like math. They're not going to perform well in it. say they love science, they're going to perform well in it. They are going to perform much better in it. And the overall reason for this is because that's how society is going to work. Like, you're not going to go get a job that you don't like. You're going to go get a job that you want to do, because you're not going to want to spend 50 years of your life just saving up for retirement doing something you hate. No one's going to do that. Sure, people do end up doing that, and that's because they can't do anything else, and it's what they, I guess, are told to do by society or whatever their reason for it is. But it's just something that teachers and like the education curriculum of like the entire United States basically has to start realizing is that if a student has an interest in this career, then they should be teaching them how to get to that career. Because, like, for me, I know exactly what I want to do after high school. I want to be self-employed and I want to do video production. If it's on YouTube, if it's for videographing or photography for people, that's what I want to do. It's with video and stuff. So why aren't students like me, where they know what they want to do after high school, why are we not taught the knowledge and stuff for that exact career? Because we have to wait till we get to college to do so. And college, in my opinion, is very pointless, because now you're paying for things you don't need to know. That's why, in my opinion, technical school, or technical college, if you will, is much more beneficial to our generation, because we are, or at least the people that I hang out with and talk with, like you, we would agree that school is teaching us nonsense stuff that we don't need. And that's what's very dumb with college, is they teach you things you don't need to know, but you're also paying for it. On the other, vice versa, you have technical college where you want to get into these classes, you want to be an engineer of some sort, you are going to be put into classes where they teach you the stuff, just the stuff, to get to that point. And I mean, when we visited, one of the colleges we visited with my school was Lakeland Technical College. I live in Wisconsin, and we both live in Wisconsin, so that's, if you don't know where that is. It's a Lakeshore Technical College, and or LTC for short. But when we were there, a lot of the classes and stuff that we got to see were based off of are you interested in this? All right, this will be a class you take. We're not going to put you in advanced ecology. We're not going to put you in that if you're going to become a welder. Like, it's just that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. What would you say?
Well, yeah, I agree with you, kind of. This is kind of awkward.
Yeah, that's kind of like, that's just similar stuff. What else would you say then, like, about like teachers and that kind of stuff too, then? Because I mean, we've talked about that before.
Teachers?
Yeah.
You mean, what would you want me to say? What I said before, basically?
Yeah, like what you were talking about before we started the podcast.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Shoot, I kind of forgot.
All right.
Well, teachers, there's some good teachers, there's some bad teachers.
Yeah. Well, like, from me, both my parents work in the school system. My dad is a band director, so he's a teacher. And then my mom works for, like, our school's grading website, which is Skyward. And, like, she's the head of, like, whatever, putting grades in or whatever. Something like that. I don't know the exact title of her job, but that's what she does. She enters grades into the online grade book. And so, like, I get a lot of criticism in my own household for the beliefs I have, but I'm much more happy having my own opinions and coming up with my own thoughts and opinions on my own versus someone else judging what I have to say or criticizing me until I make the right decision. Which is, like, where I think some teachers go wrong. Like, teaching should be, you teach that exact thing. You shouldn't throw your own opinions in on the mix. Like, some teachers, especially some teachers I've had, a couple in particular, have focused their class more on things they want on things they want students to care about. And I am highly against that, because students should be able to make their own opinions. We shouldn't have teachers influencing us on what we want to say. But that goes along the whole thing with how education is not education anymore. It's memorize, regurgitate stuff. You'll notice if you continue to watch our podcast that memorize regurgitation is going to be a big thing we talk about, the school system being bulimic and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, do you want to add anything else?
Well, it's
I don't
that
know how long we're going in, but
yeah,
how long?
teachers basically. I think it takes a long time to become a teacher. Shit,
Yeah.
my Snapchat's going off. Well, yeah. So it takes a long time. Probably how many years does it take? You have to go to college for 4 years, I think, to become a
Yeah,
teacher.
it's 4 years, and then you can go for more. Like my dad has a master's degree.
Things change in 4 years. A lot
Yeah.
of things have changed in the last 4 years. So
Oh yeah, big time.
what? Yeah, I know. So basically, if you want to become a teacher, you have to go through. It's basically just what I talked about before, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you got anything else that you want to start conversation on, or?
I don't have anything else, no.
Okay.
This is our first
Alright.
podcast, so.
Yeah, this is our first podcast.
It's
so
not.
I wanted to have a little bit of a chat, I guess you could say. But yeah. As we continue to do this podcast and stuff, I'm sure things will get better, production, all that goes better. I'm currently using a Chromebook, and you're using a MacBook, and we're using a built-in webcams. So hopefully we'll be able to start using like our own cameras that we actually use for filming on our videos and stuff. But we wanted to do a quick podcast, just get the channel started, and yeah, leave your questions, comments down below. Follow us on Twitter. Our individual Twitters will be down below, and subscribe to our individual channels where we post our more fun, like comedy commentary stuff that we get more of our views from, if you would. So, yeah, I pretty much it.
All right.
And yeah,
is that about
that's
it?
awesome. Yeah, that's about it. All right, cool. We'll try to do this once a week, and yeah, see what happens. See you guys in the next podcast coming out next Sunday. See ya. Bye-bye.